So I just beat Doom the Dark Ages, and I think the best way to describe it is it's like Squidville.
I'll bet they won't have... Wow, they have it!
Repetitive level design!
This town is great!
At first, Squidward thinks he's in paradise, but slowly and surely, the repetition of routine sinks in, and paradise starts to feel boring. If 2016 and Eternal are 10 out of 10 games, Dark Ages being a 7 or 8 out of 10 makes it seem like a much worse game than it actually is. Doom the Dark Ages is a solid entry in the series, even though it fails to live up to the extremely high standards and expectations of Eternal and 2016. It is by no means a bad video game. Yes, oh my god. Oh my jeez. It could not be more overkill. And it could not be more cool. I was sold on Doom the Dark Ages with just 2 words. Chainsaw shield. What? I can throw this thing like a boomerang? This is like medieval Doom.
So it really starts with just the idea of medieval Doom.
We got cyber dragons. Where are my Yu-Gi-Oh fans at?
I'll send the 3 cyber dragons in my hand to the graveyard so I can summon the cyber end dragon.
Oh, is that what I get? For Dark Ages, it's a lot of little things that add up that makes it somewhat of a disappointment. The devil is in the details, and we're gonna get that fucker. I was also lucky enough that Bethesda gave me an early access code. Yes, Todd Howard himself came to my home, walked in, looked up and said, wow, look at those light fixtures. They all just work. And then he left. Doom is a series that activates my Unga Bunga brain. And when I saw that first reveal trailer, my mind went wild with the possibilities. Imagine Doom meets Castlevania, a 10 out of 10 concept. What a genius direction to take the series in. And it's not just me, right, ladies? I mean, this cape is a pure pussy magnet. Save some for the rest of us, Doom guy. It seemed like the stars were aligning. We got a new Doom game coming out the same week we're getting a new pope. It is a bad day to be a demon. Oh, there we go. They still got the jump kills. Okay. But does Dark Ages live up to that hype? Does it truly deliver the fantasy we were all hoping for? I expected Dark Ages to sidestep the formula from Eternal instead of trying to add even more on top of it. It made sense for them to kind of reel things back. Although Dark Ages is a solid entry in the series, I won't be surprised if it turns out to be the most controversial.
But why?
Well, that's exactly what you'll find out today. So let's rev up those chainsaws, blast a hole into the surface of Mars, and rip and tear our way straight into this. Hey Doom Guy, are there any other games you like to rip and tear into?
Why yes, Acclaimed, I love War Thunder, the sponsor of today's video.
War Thunder is the most in-depth vehicle combat game ever made. I've also heard the forums are awesome. In War Thunder, you can pilot over 2,500 different vehicles, all taken from the greatest battles and the greatest militaries across 10 different nations. Like they even got this obscure, goofy-ass looking tank in the game, and the in-game model is virtually identical to real pictures. It's realistic and cool to get live X-ray scans of your vehicle and what systems they've damaged. With so much detail packed into one game, it's hard to believe War Thunder is completely free to play on Xbox, PC, PlayStation, and available on mobile devices via the links in the description and pinned comment. And if you download War Thunder today, I'll give you an exclusive bonus pack for new and returning PC and console players who haven't played in over 6 months. This pack includes the Eagle of Valor Decorator, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium. Download War Thunder today and dominate the battlefield.
And now for something completely different.
The worst part about Dark Ages, and this is going to cause a lot of chaos when I say this, all right? They got rid of glory kills.
Well, that's great. That's just fucking great, man. Now what the fuck are we supposed to do? We're some real pretty shit now, man.
Doing multiple glory kills in succession was something we tried to do for like 10 years and just didn't really fit in the other games.
I don't believe what I'm hearing.
If we're asking the player to stop and play a synced animation for every one of those, it was getting very, very tedious.
You've changed.
If it didn't feel good, it wouldn't be in the game. There's no reason why we wouldn't do glory kills again.
I don't know you anymore.
People think it's just playing the same melee strike every time.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
I'll say it again. They got rid of glory kills. And some of you might be saying, oh no, Act Man, you're just exaggerating. You're being hyperbolic. Okay, you're right. So we agree they got rid of them by about like 95%. If you get 100% of a pizza, and then the next pizza you order, you only get 5% of the pizza, well, that's less pizza. Oh, see, it's weird, man. Sometimes you can get the kills off and other times you can't. I don't get you.
I don't get you.
Saying they got rid of glory kills is like saying Master Chief took his helmet off. Like,
You what?
like my brain just...
People think it's just playing the same melee strike every time.
Even the robot just does a kick, man. Come on.
Kicking? Oh, I want to do some kicking.
He still does the kick. Even on like one of the last bosses, he still does the same fucking kick. Do I even need to explain why glory kills are awesome? You can tell they got rid of glory kills because if they did, I would be showing you footage of Doom Guy using the flail to wrap it around a Mancubus's neck before popping that sucker off. I would be showing off some of the coolest things in a world. It boggles the mind because some of the glory kills you can pull off in very specific circumstances are pretty sweet. Glory kills have been replaced by executions.
They're more like executions, you know, you're able to just move from one guy to the next.
But executions became such a rare occurrence during my playthrough that I started chat clipping it every time. Oh yeah, there we go. I want more of that. Give me more of that. Glory kills weren't in the original games, but they were a way of modernizing Doom back in 2016. They added a cinematic feel that you never saw in any other FPS. Yes, at times they could feel like they slowed down the combat, but you could mostly engage with glory kills as much or as little as you wanted to. We've seen companies cut these same corners before, and it always goes over poorly. When Halo Infinite got rid of assassinations, everybody disliked that. When Battlefield 2042 replaced all these cool directional-based assassinations with one really, really bad one, everyone disliked that.
What the fuck was that?
And for Doom, it should be no different. It is stupid how it doesn't matter the size or shape of a demon when you execute them all the same. It breaks my immersion constantly when I'm annihilating some 20-foot demon and it ends with like just a basic fucking kick. Take that, 5-ton behemoth.
You know, that scene in the opening of 300.
This is Sparta!
That's actually the point of this, is to avoid repetition so you don't see the same kind of animation again and again.
There was so much creativity in these killing animations. It wasn't just like mindless action, but to reinforce the idea that this is why Doom Guy is the only thing they fear.
None could stand before the Horde, but the Doom Slayer. The scribes carved his name deep in the tablets of hell across eons, and each battle etched terror in the hearts of the demons. They knew he would come, as he always had, as he always will, to feast on the blood of the wicked.
When you see how he kills the demons, you know why they fear him.
For it is he that they fear, not man, or his armies. They fear the mark of the beast.
thus selling you on this incredible power fantasy of taking the fight to hell and not being scared.
Because you are the Doom Slayer, the strongest, fastest demon killer in existence, and nothing can stand in your way.
But for whatever reason, it seems id Software didn't understand that or consider that when developing Dark Ages. If you're gonna replace something that's so awesome and integral about the last two games, you gotta give us something of equal or greater value. In some ways, Dark Ages feels like it has gotten lazy. Like these death animations. If you have a life sigil, then instead of like falling over and dying or exploding and your helmet comes off.
It's so weird to just have a menu pop up to be like, you have died.
Like you're there fucking adrenaline pumping and then just, you have died.
Yeah, it's so dumb that you have died. Show me dying.
Oh shit, the demons can glory kill me? So that's been my TED Talk on why glory kills are awesome. Please bring them back next time. This is a new kind of Doom, a simpler Doom. How simple is it? Well, they got rid of the double jump and the dash and the grapple hook. And as a result, the puzzles, the exploration is just an objective downgrade.
Yeah, a lot of the secret areas do not feel like secret areas. They feel like, you looked down, good job.
What they got rid of, they replaced with something worse. Instead of the double jump, now we have swimming? Never ever imagined Doom Guy swimming unless he was heading to Rapture to kill everyone there. Jack versus Doom Guy? Who's coming out on top? Taking all bets. I think I can remember one instance when I was like swimming and there was like fire or something to avoid. It's filler. It's filler. But what I can respect about id is that every time they try to switch things up.
I feel like there should always be a Doom game out there, but you can't just make the same kind of game every time.
Run and gun, jump and shoot, stand and fight. I think that's a great tagline.
We want you to stand and fight against the biggest enemies we have. If you're going to stand and fight, we definitely have to give you the tools to do that.
You are less mobile, but tankier. Doom Guy is far more lethal than ever before, so demons feel a lot weaker, but attacking greater numbers. I played on Ultra Violence for this review, and the difficulty felt just right.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't want to fight me neither, you know?
I made the parry window shorter so that combat would be more intense. I also got a pretty top-of-the-line PC. The game ran almost flawlessly for me. I've heard of other issues on PC, but I encountered very few glitches.
Oh, whoa, what was that? That guy just appeared out of nowhere.
There's a high degree of polish in this game.
I love the castle medieval aesthetic of this game. Man, they truly went balls to the walls. A feast for the eyes. You will quench your bloodthirst, and you will satiate your appetite for masculine beauty.
You can tell id put a lot of effort into the ideas they had. As for if those ideas were the best ideas, maybe not. One of the big changes made is with melee, and the game's first new weapon, the Power Fist. Let's just get some of the bad stuff out of the way. Melee combat is weird in this game. The Power Gauntlet charges regenerate over time or by finding melee ammo.
What?
Melee ammo? Imagine if they did this shit in Halo. Whoa, you can't whack your pistol 3 times in a row. What are you, crazy? You know, Master Chief gets tired too. I don't understand. If you're going to set Doom in a medieval fantasy setting, why would you limit melee combat? Wouldn't that be like a main focus? Stand and fight? Instead, it's like this weird pseudo hybrid.
You know, you get this boxing match, you know, almost against the biggest enemies we have. They throw strikes, you parry them, you're charging your melee, you throw your strikes, you get off some shots.
Melee combat in Dark Ages is like a boxing match, but with all the complexity and strategy of, say, Punch-Out on NES. That's not a dig at Punch-Out, that's just how simple and basic the melee combat is, that it could be compared to an NES game. I mean, you put Doom Guy in a setting where he has access to spears, halberds, crossbows, there is a crossbow, bastard swords, axes, and maces, all of this potential to just give us 3 melee weapons. Which, by the way, 2 of the attacks on the Power Fist is a shield bash and a kick. Kicking with the Power Fist. It feels like bumper cars, because every time you whack a demon, it slows down and you bounce backwards. Doom Guy is the only thing they fear. And this stick bug looking motherfucker, the guy that in the last game you can smack his head and bash it into his neck like a baked potato? Why am I bouncing off of this guy? In martial arts, I was taught not to strike an enemy, to strike through them. If you're punching someone, you don't stop your fist when you make contact. You want to knock their head off. And that's the type of feeling you got in previous games when you would execute glory kills. And Doom Guy would slash through them, he would charge at them. When he would go berserk, he would just punch them and send them flying. No knockback. Another big change is that you no longer have the insta-kill melee, be it a chainsaw or the crucible sword, both of which were pretty fucking cool. But let's switch gears and jump into some of the other features Dark Ages has, like
absolutely fucking nothing.
You see, this review is not just about what Dark Ages has, but also what it has lost. There is no multiplayer, snap map, battle mode, horde mode, not even a demon dating simulator, where you can get to know some hot single mancubi in your local area. What's that? You liked the campaign? You enjoyed what you played and you want more? Sorry, restaurant is closed. Go eat somewhere else. Why?
Now, Doom is certainly about more than just the single-player campaign experience.
It's a benefit of not doing multiplayer. We've been able to put more of these things in the game.
I was on board with the idea of id Software not working on a multiplayer and instead focusing all their resources on a solid single-player campaign. I thought that would pay off. It really has not. In 2016, the multiplayer wasn't anything spectacular, but it was serviceable and oh sweet Jesus, oh I forgot they added emotes. Oh I was wrong. Burn it all. I think in my old review I was pretty critical of 2016's multiplayer, but I mean shit, it's better than nothing. You had multiple game modes where you could play as demons, a bunch of multiplayer exclusive weapons not found in the campaign, and new equipment. And to switch up the combat in the single player, they also had rune trials, just little challenge runs that allowed you to unlock new abilities. There was an entire arcade mode too, which had you running through the levels trying to kill as many demons as fast as possible. You know, it was just more bang for your buck. And then secret levels, you could unlock a classic Doom level and play through it. I don't know, maybe I'm just the one who's out of touch, thinking that shit was cool. And Snap Map was basically Doom's version of Halo's Forge. Have you ever played a game that had a map editor and you were like, you know, I wish I didn't have the ability to make my own content? And when Doom Eternal came out, the multiplayer and side content was reduced to a single 1v2 mode. It felt unfinished. And now with Dark Ages, we don't even get a multiplayer. On the single player front, this new trilogy has 1000% lived up to the hype and expectations of the original Doom games, but on the multiplayer side, it hasn't. And Doom was not just always about single player.
Now, Doom is certainly about more than just the single-player campaign experience.
Doom is one of those rare IPs where most people don't care about storytelling. And that is just as clear in Dark Ages as it was in Eternal. Characters are forgettable, dialogue is forgettable, plot is forgettable. Gameplay, not so much. At the end of it, I didn't really take away anything from the story besides the spectacle and feeling of it. You know, when I said that, I didn't think, oh, 5 years later, I'll feel the exact same way about a new Doom game. Now, despite my criticisms, there are a lot of moments in Doom the Dark Ages where you will think, that could not be more metal, and that could not be more Doom. But to sum up the plot, I mean, there's a bad demon guy, and he wants more power, and you don't want him to have that power. So you fly all around Demon Land, ripping and tearing, and that's pretty much it. We don't even know what the inciting incident is. Why are demons attacking this random village? Doesn't matter. All that matters is that Doom Guy is being held captive. This is the one interesting part of the story. The idea that weird alien things and this Captain Fatfuck guy are somehow controlling Doom with this technology. I wanted to see how that played out. But even Doom's original creators never thought storytelling was all that important. As the legend John Carmack once said, and put it best, story in a game is like story in a porn movie. It's expected to be there, but it's not important. Not important. We never even learned what type of pizza he was gonna deliver. I mean, shit, what am I gonna do? Backtalk to the king of first-person shooters? So what right do I have to complain about it? Just shut up and ride the dragon. I want to. I really, really do.
They don't mind having a story in Doom, they just want it to be a good story. A story that complements the game, that fits in with the genre, you know, that enhances the experience, you know.
But you see, Doom falls under the ancient rule of cool law, which states that it doesn't matter how absurd, ridiculous, or illogical something is. If it's fucking cool enough, then you put it in and you can get away with it. The rule of cool does a lot of heavy lifting for Doom.
You can't just shoot a hole into the surface of Mars.
But the rule of cool has its limits, and I think we've run out of track. I would be happy if Dark Ages could at least provide the bare minimum, the basics, like context. So often the transition from mission to mission is just an abrupt stop. You're no longer here, now you're here.
I don't really know what the fuck has been happening in the story, honestly. It's like hell's back, get on this dragon, just fucking, you know the drill. Now, where the fuck am I now? You know what I mean? I'm going to all these cool places. It kind of reminds me of Halo 5. You're going to all these places that look cool, but you don't know what the fuck you're doing there. What is his goal? What is he trying to do? I don't even know. He's just a bad guy, you know? Nobody really explains what the fuck is going on or where we even are or what we're trying to do or...
The campaign is little more than a series of mini adventures loosely stitched together with barely any coherence or pacing.
What am I doing? I don't even know. I really don't even know. I could not tell you what the fuck I'm doing. You know those scenes where it like shows you characters going to a different place or something? It's kind of, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of important for spatial awareness or like, where the fuck why do you have a sword? When did you get that sword?
Heck, man, stop talking about the story. Who cares? It's not like you have some high quality standard of storytelling in Doom's past that you can refer to. Oh, wait. Now, if you don't believe me, go replay 2016 and compare it to the storytelling in Dark Ages.
No contest!
What's weird about Dark Ages is that its plot is hard to describe because there's so little of it. There's very few things that are actually worth spoiling. While Doom 2016 feels like a game that wants you to take things slow, it's almost like Dark Ages thinks that's boring. What players like is combat, and that's it. Let's pick a random Dark Ages mission as an example. Number 15, City of Ryul. So the plot of this mission is you go through a portal, you kill demons for 20 minutes, then go through another portal, mission over. The cosmic realm awaits. 4 words is all of the narrative they could spare for this one level. What was the point? What is the cosmic realm? Is that where Neil deGrasse Tyson lives? Compare this to 2016 when you go to hell for the first time in a 6th mission. It's a similar concept. Doom Guy finds himself in another plane of existence and he's cut off from communications. Now in Dark Ages they just say, fuck it, no dialogue this mission. But in 2016 they replaced Samuel Hayden's voice with these demon audio logs, which are so fucking cool. While you're in hell, you get a psychological profile of the Doom Guy from the demon's perspective. I mean, that's fucking cool. These demonic audio logs detail Doomslayer's backstory, how he was encased in a magic sarcophagus and sealed away, how he was freed, why he is the only thing they fear, and it gives you a look into the minds of the demons. It added so much to the story.
He wore the crown of the Night Sentinels, and those that tasted the bite of his sword named him the Doomslayer.
This is what I mean when I say Dark Ages doesn't even cover the basics, the bare essentials. There is nothing in this level to clue us in on what the fuck this place is or what happens here. And the art direction is peak. I'm convinced id Software secretly hired Gordon Ramsay to work on this game because they fucking cooked. And that's the real tragedy. These are places and locations worthy of telling a story in, but they didn't even bother. Some people might say, man, it doesn't want to slow the game down with too much story. People don't care about that. And I agree, which is why I also think Dark Ages has too many cutscenes and not enough story, if that's even possible. The biggest change of all is perspective. Cutscenes dominate the plot, for better and sometimes worse. The story is delivered in two ways: cinematics and people talking over a radio. And yes, while it is fucking cool to watch Doom guys squaring up with Cthulhu, that's all Dark Ages really has going for it in terms of narrative. It's just cool. I mean, there's this one moment, spoiler warning, spoilers, Doom guy gets thrown into acid and you think he dies, but he's literally too angry to. When they revealed his face as like some ghoul, and he goes into Davy Jones's space locker to ferry his own soul across the river, I mean, what do you want me to say? That's a moment. That sticks in my brain.
See, stuff like this conceptually is pretty fucking cool. Pretty goddamn sweet. And artistically, it's just beautiful. But there's like no real substance.
And it's hard to get immersed in this game when I can barely draw a connection between my actions as the Doomslayer and what's happening in the cinematics. But in Dark Ages, I don't feel like I'm doing anything, and the objectives rarely have any relation to what's going on. Like in the mission Siege, Azrak launches an assault on the Sentinel stronghold. He's got this big-ass cool ship with the fucking skull in the front. Oh man, I guess we gotta infiltrate that now. No, take out AA cannons? And what? Portals? Huh? Shouldn't we use the AA cannons to shoot at the guy on the ship? Wait a minute, everybody's just sitting in a castle behind the shield. Why do I need to take out AA cannons? We don't even have air support. This leads me to my next point. The characters suck. Everyone is worthless in Dark Ages except you. It actually becomes irritating how little a role Thera, Novik, and the other Sentinels and soldiers play in the story. They just stand around waiting for you to solve all their problems, never doing anything themselves, and everyone is relegated to spouting boring expository dialogue. Yawn.
These guys don't ever do jack shit. Yeah, all these guys show up and it's just gonna be me fighting. Yep, you go off in that direction, yep. God damn it.
Compare this to Samuel Hayden. I mean, 2016 only had like 3 characters.
Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, yes. But it was worth the risk, I assure you.
But he was great because he helped guide you through the facility and the story. But he was also a weird robot that sounded like a bad guy, and he kept talking about how much he loves demon energy and wanted to continue his work when his work caused this incident in the first place, but yet he's helping you stop it.
If stopping our energy production is what you want, then you need only to destroy this last filter, and Argent energy will no longer exist in this solar system. We will be back at square one.
So, until the very end, it was pretty hard to tell if Samuel Hayden was an antagonist or a good guy, and that made the plot interesting.
I am not the villain in this story. I do what I do because there is no choice. I can't kill you, but I won't have you standing in our way. Until we see each other again.
In that way, Olivia Pierce almost acts as a red herring. You see, at least I can describe the 3-4 characters in 2016. I can't do that for Dark Ages. What's the point of having all these people suck up screen time when they don't do a goddamn thing? Dark Ages is all style and little substance. It's the epitome of tragedy. That such beautiful imagery and art could be so wonderfully crafted, but not filled with enough interesting elements. Like, here's a good example, the Cyber Dragon, Sarat. When did we get a Cyber Dragon? You know what would have been cool is if Sarat was its own boss fight, but instead of killing the dragon like Doom Guy normally would, he tames it like a fucking cowboy in the Wild West. And then you could kind of play a little bit, Arthur Morgan with his horse kind of relationship. But spoilers, when a dragon is killed, I didn't really feel anything. I don't know, man, the story feels like you're stuck in a perpetual loop where every cutscene is just meant to make you feel like Mr. Krabs tripping out. Like, why take ketamine and fentanyl when you can achieve the same effects by trying to understand the story of Doom: The Dark Ages? For a universe as interesting and fascinating as Doom, I felt really let down by the story. What Dark Ages lacks in its storytelling is substance. I don't know what the fuck Prince Azran's motivations were for getting more power. I don't know why they were keeping Doom Guy chained up. Captain Fat Fuck, what was his motivation? Fuck if I know. The funniest part at the end is when Thera is like, and we're gonna do this for our homeland, and I'm like, I don't even know what your homeland's name is.
This is our home, and we will stand together to the last sentinel to defend it.
You have a home? What is the name of your home? I don't even know where you live, dog. Now that id Software has also abandoned the idea of multiplayer, it feels like a massive missed opportunity that they've also abandoned storytelling. In Doom Demons Die Twice, you can parry certain attacks and turn the tables on an aggressive foe. It's a unique spin on the classic formula. Like before, at first it's fun parrying projectiles, learning the patterns, and adapting to them on the fly. The shield is super fucking cool. Being able to throw it and implant it in a big demon to stun it. The shield bash lets you fly across the battlefield similar to the grapple hook. But over the course of time, it starts to become apparent that a lot of enemies shoot the same projectile. The problem I have is how prevalent parrying is when it's such a simple mechanic. Every attack you parry slows the game down to the point where it got so annoying, I tried looking through the settings if there was a way to disable it. Between the weird knockback and slow-mo effect, the game starts to feel sluggish, like it's compensating for a lack of depth in the melee combat. Sometimes it's cool to pull off a parry, but other times it feels like you're just spamming the block button and instinctively parrying every attack that's thrown your way, effectively dumbing down your available strategies. Dodging in the dragon or the robot levels is incredibly simplistic. Like in the mech levels, you can dodge into where they are swinging and you'll just like phase through it or something. And in the dragon levels, you're always dodging in one of 4 directions, and it feels like a game from the 360 era. Let's move on to weapons and demons and level design, because this is what Doom is all about.
Big effing guns.
And not just these, right, fellas? One thing I really love about Eternal in 2016 is how every weapon had like 3 modes of fire, with mods that you could swap out of during combat. Every weapon felt like it had been explicitly tuned to fit a certain situation or scenario, and had certain drawbacks. In Dark Ages, it's like every weapon only has 1 mode of fire, and they just doubled the amount of weapons, so they all feel like they do less. The Ravager and the Punisher are a great example. Why are these 2 separate weapons when the differences are so minor? Since there are no alternate fires, the idea of upgrading weapons is also a lot less interesting, since it merely enhances the primary fire. And instead of unlocking upgrades via challenges or combat tokens, it's gold now, often placed just right out in the open, like it takes 0 effort to collect a lot of gold. Feels kind of like Donkey Kong 64, where they just put hundreds of bananas everywhere. The weapons feel off. I think it's a combination of the demons being much easier to kill and every weapon being good in almost every scenario. The game starts to feel very arcadey. I mean, don't take my word for it. Immediately after you beat Doom: The Dark Ages, go play 2016 and notice how different enemy behavior is. How possessed soldiers, even though they're cannon fodder, they can still put up a decent fight. They take a couple shots to take down. But in Dark Ages, they just throw hordes and hordes of useless, worthless cannon fodder that are so frail and feeble, one toss of your shield can kill like 30 of them. I don't know, it's like all these shield guys, you know, I throw my shield at one of them and they all explode. You'd think they'd learn and change their strategy at some point. Levels are a whole nother subject entirely. They have been dumbed down.
What? No, just don't walk over there.
And the secrets are hardly secrets.
Come on, this is a secret. Come on. All I did was go left. That's not a secret.
A lot of levels are just like flat, wide open. Again, because they got rid of the double jump, they can't really add a whole bunch of interesting platforming. Therefore, secrets are less secretive and levels are less interesting. You kind of just glide across the ground in a lot of levels, massacring everything in sight. Very little like height advantage or environmental hazards or teleporters, man cannons, or power-ups. In 2016, each arena you fought demons in felt like a playground you had to master. Same with Eternal. Doom Guy would dance around a battlefield like Michael Jackson with his double-barreled shotgun blasting demons straight back to hell. It was awesome. Dark Ages, it feels more like you're a blender. Rarely does the environment itself pose any challenge.
I was actually so unused to environmental hazards, I just walked into the yellow acid.
Levels are much more linear and less labyrinthine. Most puzzles are pretty easy to figure out with landmarks so colorful and unmistakable it's hard to miss them. But in previous games, often you would have to really take in your surroundings, and sometimes you'd find a secret trapdoor that doesn't have an obvious marker except for a tiny little button prompt. And this would lead you to a secret area that would reward you with an upgrade to your suit. Oh yeah, remember the suit? Why are there no upgrades for it? So the vast majority of combat feels like it happens in long, wide, open, flat environments, and the exploration, while simple, fun, and easy, doesn't feel nearly as rewarding as, you know, taking 5 or so minutes to be like, that's how you get into that room, you know? Doom the Dark Ages seems to de-emphasize exploration and instead fill those quiet moments with more combat. Thus, the combat feels more repetitive because there's less breaks in between. At first, I enjoyed the spectacle of the mech and dragon levels.
Regain health by flying through blue rings. Just like Superman. I'm just like Superman.
I thought it was neat exploring the world from a different point of view.
Oh boy. Yes. Yes, none will survive. I am Godzilla.
The robot levels were incredibly linear and one note, but a fun spectacle nonetheless. And the dragon level, I do think it's funny that they added an enemy ship that always flies away from you. It's like the designers realized, hey, this is just people flying through corridors of nothing. We gotta give them something to shoot, and that's what they came up with. But this ain't no Star Fox 64, that's for damn sure. One thing all 3 Doom games have done exceptionally well is art direction, and Dark Ages might be the most beautiful and varied of the trilogy.
But I mean, like, look at the art direction. It's fucking immaculate. If only the levels were better. Man. Ah, look at the ghost, look at that floating pirate ships out there and wherever the fuck we are.
There's always some crazy shit going on in the background and you feel like you're part of a larger war. And with that, id Software has capped off a new Doom trilogy. History repeats itself, time is a flat circle, and once again, the 3rd entry is the most divisive. But like Doom 3, will Dark Ages years from now be reappraised as a masterpiece? For first timers, it'll likely be a blast and you'll want to experience more, and then it's only up from there. While there's a lot I respect about Doom the Dark Ages, a lot of issues I have really come down to my personal preference, and I think the whole direction of medieval Doom was a wonderful concept. Around the halfway point, I felt like the game had mostly run out of magic tricks, and besides a few unique bosses, it did. Replacing glory kills with inferior executions is one of the most baffling and unnecessary changes they made. To remove what sold me on your last 2 games and give me a worse version of it It makes my brain hurt, so I try not to think about it. But while Dark Ages may not be the most exciting, thrilling ride in the Doom amusement park, it feels like it belongs. Saying this is the weakest of the trilogy is kind of like saying Carl Weathers was kind of a pussy because he lost that arm wrestle with Arnold. With id Software focusing entirely on the single player and abandoning everything else, I expected this to mean we would get the best campaign in the series. But it seems all that extra content was sacrificed for naught.
You betrayed us. And for what? Nothing!
The devil is in the details, and when Doom 4 comes out, don't forget to catch that fucker. And that is why Doom the Dark Ages is so disappointing.
War Thunder is available on PC, console, and mobile. Click those links in the description to redeem your free bonus pack for new and returning players that haven't played in over 6 months. Across PC and consoles only.
Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, and let me know your thoughts on Doom the Dark Ages in the comments below. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for today. This is the Act Man signing out. Peace!